Welcome to the Queensland Preview Show. I'm your host, Scooty Pippin, and we've got MJ, the famous Shane Churlio. Welcome to the show, your show.
Famous. Nice to see you again, mate. It's a bit better conditions here in Queensland today. I think with the coronavirus cases have come out and so has the sunshine. So
yeah, looking at the forecast. Looking at the forecast, it's 23, 22. It's freezing. It's miserable down here. We're in this farm. We're locked in a working farm of Melbourne, but there's a couple of young lasses got themselves into trouble, but that's not going to stop racing at Eagle Farm. It's only bomb threats that get the job done there. Have you made your way out to the Magic Millions complex? I know you've got a bit of a history of dabbling in the working the breeding and the sales sort of environment. It was a beauty. I heard a beauty this week. I think a horse called Vedora got sold for around $1 million or maybe $1.2 million a year ago. And then all of a sudden is in foal to I'm Invincible. And then the next thing you know, it gets knocked down at $2.55 million a year later. So, which sparks to me that it's just how can a horse rise in value by 1.3 million in a year in foal to I'm Invincible? Staggering.
Yes. The same people that believe in Santa and the Easter Bunny believe in the hammer prices at horse sales. I don't. Where do I start? Like, just because it got knocked down to that doesn't mean that's what it would have sold for. I don't know. Where do I even start? If you own a horse, right, and you've got it going in a multi, and it's worth $2,000 in prize money and $3,000 in your multi, so you got it going for $5,000 and it's cost you $1,000 or $500. You can't go on Betfair and lay it back because of a perceived integrity issue, right? Those types of integrity issues happen regularly in wagering, right? Talk about integrity in racing, and sometimes the media cover it, sometimes they police it, sometimes it's swept under the rug. In breeding, free for all. You can buy a weanling in, I don't know, Perth, bring it over to Queensland, sell it through the ring in Queensland under another farm, and then buy it back under another company and, triple your money and all that sort of stuff. It goes on every day of the week. Completely does my brain in these hammer prices.
Yeah, there's an article that was in the Sydney Morning Herald. I think the title's called "The Sale Where Money Changes Pockets Rather Than Hands." John Shell wrote it in 2009.
But he's not working there anymore.
No, it's. I think the first sentence is "Welcome to Rortsville." So if you just search John Shell, SCHELL Magic Millions, John Shell Magic Millions, you'll find the article, and it probably tells you everything that you need to know about the buying and selling game. But
you were in the wrong end of the game. It's funny because the wagering end of the game is the hardest. There's no money in owning the things. A little bit of enjoyment here and there if you're lucky. Looks like we're on the wrong end of the game. We should be in the broodmare game by the looks of it. Some of those prices that we're getting thrown around this week at Magic Millions are unbelievable. I'm sure there's some genuine vendors and some genuine purchasers there as well. Don't get me wrong, but there'd be more Rorts than anything else. But
there's been some censorship around the videos around Hugh. We won't talk about Hugh. It's probably been done to death, but there's a fair bit going on up north. A couple of guys have pointed out some videos far north Queensland of some dodgy rides, and then all of a sudden Racing Queensland have been chopping them off. Where do you sit on, if there's a murky incident or if there's a fall or if there's a dodgy ride, people have seen it. Why turn it off?
I don't know. Are you like pressing my buttons here or what on purpose? Or it's
I just had a coffee.
This the Whiteley ride. I think Whiteley just got 2 months for the ride on the $1.30 favourite up in Cairns. So Silent Explorer, something it might have been called from memory. anyway, he got a running and handling charge. So he's been found guilty of giving it a run and cops 2 months. Rode there yesterday or whatever day of the week he rode there, Tuesday. Now, that was blown up on social media, and then another website. There's a couple of websites in Queensland that don't mind writing about Rorts and putting the spotlight on what they think is dodgy activity one way or another. And I fucking swear that the stewards are reading Twitter and reading these websites and think, oh, we better do something about this. Everyone's blown up. Reactionary, like it was once upon a time. I'm not sure whether it still happens, but I know for a fact that there used to be a company that would alert the stewards to this sort of stuff, like a pre-race betting activity, post-race red flag rides. And they got really. It looks as if is that the people are just looking at, if it drifted on Betfair and got held up, that it was an obvious rort. But after a little while, I think people sort of cottoned onto that a little bit. Now there's other market moves going on and rides that are questionable. And we've touched on this 100 times. The steward's job is to ask the question on the day, and I don't know, like what's going to happen here. Jockey got 8 weeks. He's going to appeal. He'll be riding for the next 6 months. Like it's just, it does your head in. You see it so often. The best one, Saturday night. Now I wasn't involved in this, but this is an example of stewards and this sort of stuff going on with riders up here. Geez, you've wound me up. Saturday night, Toowoomba wasn't involved financially in the race. The jockey on Hawk Clare jumped lead and just like scrubbed it the whole way. Like it was 3 or 4 in front, never taken a breather, scrubbed the whole way, right? Now, this is no shit. This is not a word of a lie. The stewards report. Jockey Minette Kennedy decided that this horse was one-paced, and it was always her intention to go out there and make sure it was a truly run race because the horse is very one-paced, and it was her decision to go out there and ride it the way she did. Not following instructions of trainer or anything like that. They didn't give her a running and handling charge. They directed her back to the apprentice school. Now, you got a 3-kilo kid that has made a decision off their own bat that this horse is a one batter, so I'm just going to scrub it the whole way. Now, this horse was $2.60-ish into $1.85, $1.90, heavily backed, and fucking. You want to get paid as a professional in a sport like this, you've got to at least be somewhat of a professional when you go out there. Like, honestly, the immunity to criticism and that sort of shit just does my brain in. Like, I understand the issues of the danger of the sport. I understand all that, but they've never had it. The jockeys and trainers, etc. They've never had it better as far as this is the most prize money they've ever battled for every day. Every day on the calendar is a big prize. There's prize money to be won. So you risk reward, whatever. But just doing my head in at the moment.
And it just seems through the media channels put on by the racing industry and paid for by the racing industry, they're immune to critique. So
what happens is because they're immune to criticism internally and externally, is that they don't improve. I'm not whinging about this for any other reason than I just want it to be better. I want to be able to go into a meeting with jockeys that are improving all the time and just giving them every chance because of the scrutiny. I want jockeys to go out there absolutely fucking petrified to give one a run.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
Yeah, and some consistency around it, 100%.
Exactly. Anyway, that's my sermon for the week.
Whew, heavy. Eagle Farm.
This is off the back of a big winning day on Wednesday too, this, by the way.
It was a good recovery.
Needed it. Anyway.
Yeah, it was some interesting final pricing there with your winner yesterday, Fiery Heights, especially across the totes. But that's a story for another day. Let's talk Eagle Farm. As we said, the weather forecast is fine. It's a good 4. The rail's out half a metre. Some skinny fields early in the day, but let's look at the features as we generally do. Race 7, interesting market, a horse socialising. People would remember that horse from the Bulldozer live stream if they participated on Little Birdie, and it tops the market. 320, Musical Genius $6, All Shiraz 9, Woman of Gold similar quote $9.50, Winning Shot 11, Bubbles Ball 11, $14 for Caballo Escuro, Amarita $17, Spring Creek 21, and Better the Rest. It's a 1,200 metre race. What's your line of thinking in this one, Curls?
Yes, well, back to Eagle Farm. It's, what am I trying to say here? Like, I just have no confidence to try and pick it early without having a look at the track, I suppose, is what I'm saying. Look, socialising was something beat the other day, I think. We discussed it. You know, there was no questions or anything like that. It was just held up. Horse inside it and outside it after jumping a length in front, restraining, and got blocked for a run. I suppose one of those tricky ones where how much was it going to win by? Was it going to win if it gets out? You know what I mean? Like that's the question. Look, I don't mind that Musical Genius as a horse. It's a horse I've had a bit of success with in the past as well. Obviously, Bailey Note off socialising here just due to injury. Had a fall last week and had surgery on his jaw, broken jaw, whatever. So obviously, you know, you've got Maloney taking over here. I don't think there's any knock on that. Just don't know what to make of the run. You know, I just don't know what to make of it, to be honest. Like, obviously, it's been winning well. I thought its Ipswich win was good. It looked good to the eye and overcome a bit of difficulty. And then last start, look, I'd say it should have won. I don't think you can be too critical of, you know, like on a heavy track, you're getting held up, you get out late. It's really hard to pick up and dash on a heavy 9, where if it was firmer footing, you could expect it to sort of pick up and dash a bit quicker. So certainly can't knock it. I'm not saying it would have definitely won. It's hard to tell, is what I'm saying there. Obviously, you know, Winning Shot led that race that day, and then has run okay since. You know, running second. And I sort of touched on that Musical Genius. That run, just quickly looking, I can't remember how many runs back. 3 back to Tahitian Dancer, Multaja race, in the Nudgy. So that was a good effort. And then, you know, obviously it was first up on a heavy track the other day. So probably take some improvement out of that. And obviously the gate is potential to be sticky, but it depends how the track's playing by that stage of the day. The gate could be irrelevant. So, look, at this stage, I suppose the market's sort of pretty well right. Socialising on top from Musical Genius at this stage until we see what other opportunities, just depending on how the track looks.
Yeah, I thought Amarita was a big price from the Matt Dunn yard, and his horses seem to go well fresh. Jim Byrne.
Yeah, I've got no stats on me to back it up, but I'm like half reluctant on the Matt Dunn horses coming to Queensland. So at the minute, like, this is just my personal opinion, and I think Kira Dunn's the best trainer, and I think she's based in the Sydney stable. The Sydney stable is going terrific. These Northern Rivers horses, I don't know about them Northern Rivers form. I can't catch it. I don't worry about it anymore. It's just like the chocolate wheel. Whoever gets the spin gets the next chocolate, gets the chocolate. So look, I was sort of not necessarily against the Dunn horses up in Queensland, but I certainly peg them back a little bit. You know, just whatever. That's just my opinion. Something that I'd put in, sort of work on a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, like I think it comes out and wins now. I said that for sure.
Yeah, looking at the price, I'd probably, even off a wide gate and James Orman, who we talk about far too often, I suppose, but I tend to think that that was the horse I'd like to be with from a price point of view, looking at the early prices for sure. But yeah, both have gone from heavy to a good track, but both look suited.
Yeah, I think so too.
And both are proven as well. So sometimes a horse can run a little bit flat off a heavy start, but they're both 3 weeks between runs, so I don't think it's going to be an issue for either. But
yeah, I don't.
They were the horses that I was sort of working.
There's one down the weights there, all Shiraz, who I think's a wet tracker, and I've sort of probably underrated a bit. I think I marked it like 100-1 when it ran second to How Wonderful Life Is. I think it was a few back now, and then it's been running fine. I think the horse is going well, but we'll just see. I don't think it can beat those two that we mentioned anyway. But the horse is going well, and it's probably a horse that I've underrated a little bit.
Yeah. We'll go to race 8. I know this is a race that you are keen to talk about. It's a 1400-metre race. Mr. Bellagio, who's racing in really, really good form, comes out of the Ipswich Eyeliner. 280 favourite, right or wrong, $6.50. Smart Edge, $10. Looks a big price for its first start up in Queensland for the Golden Camp. Skate to Paris. Missed the start last time. That was a roughie that I'd sort of identified. Persuader, another one that I've been on in the past. It looks like all the big roughies that I've tipped once upon a time. Persuader, $10. Epic Rant, $11. Similar quote for Red Dalton, and $15 about the rest of the market. And a horse that you've tipped up and wasn't suited up in grade was Akage at $51. Just to jog the memory of some of our loyal followers. What's your take on this? The 1400-metre open handicap.
Yeah, it's I'm just bringing up my speed map. Sorry, mate. 1 sec. Probably similar again. With if I'll start with Akage, I said like it was one that I wanted to be on, sort of back to Eagle Farm over a little bit further. Just not sure whether this is far enough, I should say. And it's drawn gate 1, and to be sort of back along the fence probably. It's a tough one here. A Saab Cat was one that I thought, it's got the potential to sort of roll forward here and take up the speed. It's when was it? The 22nd of the 5th, it led, and it's gone pretty quick. Its last couple, like lead time wise, and then before that, when it won back in April, it sort of just got a bit better lead. Didn't go as hard in front, and was able to, was strong through the line. So we were now 69 days between runs, but it has had, that's off the heavy track run, and then it has had a trial since, which I like, when they've had that time between runs. So if they've had like 30 days plus, in between a spell and a fresh, like longer than a freshen up, but shorter than a spell, you like to see those trials in between. So I thought it trialled up all right behind Say Haya, who was a horse that I did my nuts on last week. Anyway, I thought it could take the front. It's a bit of a tricky race. Speed map wise, I thought Persuader's one that probably could go forward, that you've touched on before, that does have a good enough figure. Mr. Bellagio, like you said, it's favourite. There's a bit of money.
It's very, very, very short.
Yeah, look, there's going to be horses that are... We found one yesterday, right? So those horses that come out of that Ipswich meeting, which made ground against the bias on the day, like as the day wore on, it was basically, limited amount of horses beat the bias, and it was hot rail that day. So there's going to be horses that were going to be identified off that, I think, that will start shorter for sure. Mr. Bellagio is definitely one of those. You can see why it's favourite, but at the same time, there's other chances in the race. Just with that Akage, like it's got some good numbers at Eagle Farm. It definitely likes the firm track there. Like it's got a good figure but it's over a bit further. So that's why I'm sort of hoping to see this sort of horse, at least up to a mile at this stage of its prep. But staying at the 1400 here, once again, might be a bit too short. But if it sort of gets out to $61, $81, I think it SP 200s last week or last start. So it could SP 100-1 and I'll probably have something on it. Skate to Paris is another one that was a bit of a forgive the other day. It's a pretty even race. Once again, you just sort of want to have a look at where they map, as opposed to how the track's playing. Right or Wrong was a horse we were on a couple of starts back. Then last start at Ipswich was a bit of a strange one. Sort of made that mid-race move to get outside the leader, and it was gone. They're going slow, and he took off early and went around them about the 600, I suppose, and got outside the leader by about the 500. So I did a bit of work middle stages and sort of, gassed it anyway, basically, is the words I'm looking for. So it's one that could sort of bounce back off that as well. So it's certainly, it's certainly a hope. But tricky race. And I suppose with these races, and we see it a fair bit in Queensland, you'll probably, for those guys that follow the market, yesterday was a great example. Once the market sort of cottoned on to a track playing a certain way, the flux are pretty savage. We saw Fiery Heights completely off the map, mid-Arvo yesterday because it was a front runner, and Roman Aureus off the map too because it, Better Gate and was always going to be closer to the lead. So rails in run. So, and you'll see that at Eagle Farm as well this week for sure. If there's a bias or a pattern starting to appear that a lot of wagering activity starts taking place. So, look, I've mentioned a few horses there, and it's basically once again it's later in the day, so I'm happy to wait and watch at this stage.
There's a few people we tweeted out in one of our channels that how would people know if track bias exists before race one? I thought it was quite strange that people didn't think that people would walk the track and try and establish an opinion pre-race, and it's often well known by insiders, and everyone's looking for patterns, whether it be historical or actually walking the track on the day. And as the day wears on, the track bias is quite apparent, and as you say, the market sort of adjusts. So, for using Rose Hill last Saturday, it was very apparent that the fence was off, and it's very possible that riders from race one suspected that the fence was off, and then as the day wears on, they're just further proven correct.
Yeah, and then you get what happened last week. Not hiding behind the fact that I did my complete arse last Saturday, is that you identify that it's hard to make ground. The rain kept coming. It made it even more difficult to make ground. And so we have something on the 2 leaders in the next 2 races, and they both go out 7 lengths quicker than average to the 600 and completely overdo the tempo. So that's, I suppose that's got to do with trying to identify the jocks that are on the horses that want to be on speed. Saw a little bit of that yesterday in Brisbane, where we had a 3 kilo claiming apprentice on a horse that wants to be leading but was drawn outside another leader, so completely just carved each other up and dropped out. So it's one thing to identify the bias, and then another thing to try and be on the right jock, because not everyone believes in bias.
No, strangely.
So anyway, this track tomorrow, it's a drawing. It's drawing weather conditions in Brisbane. You wouldn't have anticipated they'll need any irrigation after the rain we've had. So we'll just see what it tosses up. But throughout the day, there was one horse in race one that was pretty ordinary tactically was Igor in the first. Sort of got back up on that walking tempo on that leaders track at Ipswich early in the day and sat well back and made good ground from the back. And it's come up about 260. Apache Chase has drawn outside. It probably rolls to the front. It's only 5 in it. I wouldn't have thought that they'll be falling asleep this time, and it could be one that sort of starts a bit shorter than what it already is. But we won't get a look at the track, obviously, being race one, but it was sort of one that come up as well from the review of Ipswich. That was a sort of one from the earlier ones, and then the rest of the day, I just want to have a look at the track and just see that what unfolds as we get along.
It's a funny one when you get your black bookers, and I think I had a black book note for Dolly Molly at Ipswich today, and it's just brilliant to see a horse just come up $1.30 after sitting in the black book for 5 months. It's just There's just no end to the torture as a punter. Like
it's a black booker and it's a black booker and off a good trial, and you just sort of see I could have something at the red odds early here, at the black odds early, and it comes up $1.30.
It's a slight worry when they they kick off in the provincial circuit as well. But some trainers are famous for it, not just in Queensland, but definitely when good trainers send horses for a kill. Sometimes in Melbourne or Sydney, they might send it to Wangaratta or Benalla or Newcastle or Kembla, but then they bob up into the city and they win both races. So they win their little pipe opener and they come back into the city. So it's an interesting pattern. Not every trainer uses that. Some trainers put them to provincials because they're going no good. But other trainers use it as a platform and a stepping stone.
Look, I think we'll see that Saturday. Tony Gollan took that blue zebra to the sunny coast a couple of Sundays ago. I think it went around at $1.04 or whatever it went around at. It was short anyway, $1.25. So it comes to town second up into an open handicap race this week. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up.
How they improve. Where can the guys catch you at the mailbag for your race to race, and what's your schedule look like this weekend? What do you got?
We're going to jam it into Saturday. We're jamming it into Saturday again. Back to the Gold Coast this week, which is good.
Happy hunting ground for you. Yeah,
I like the Gold Coast. It's just consistent, that's what I like. We carved out a small win at Toowoomba on Saturday night, which is the first one in 3 weeks. So
monkey off the back.
Yeah, went back to the drawing board a little bit there and did a bit of soul searching. Once again, sort of found a bit of a pattern of the losing bets, which was good. So we've made some adjustments there. So hopefully we bear some fruit from that Saturday night. And then Eagle Farm Saturday with the sheets and the worksheets and the prices and obviously back on firmer footing this weekend. A lot more confident in wagering. I think the wet tracks have been fresh hell.
July's always I've found historically July's a tough month for me, and once you sort of get to August, September, and then through the spring carnival, it more opportunities and better horses, and it's not just the merry-go-round of horses up and down in their ratings. It's you get the good horses back, so it's a positive and good to see. Curls, thanks for your time. Sorry for pushing your buttons early. And,
all part of the fun.
We'll chat next week, and hopefully it's been a while since you've done a post race Saturday or Sunday with the rap tune or the fiddle. Let's hope you have a fill up and you get some of that content back out for the fans.
I'll do my best this week for sure.
Good luck on the weekend. Thanks, mate.
Talk soon.